Hiya guys, boom! As you can see, we've got a few problems. First of all, loads of condensation in here because my old dehumidifier has stopped working. So, and I've left the drum lid open. So I've just bought a new one. 100 quid I'm never going to see again, but it's worth all of this, I guess. Another problem we've got is we have a stainless steel, of course, a stainless steel bucket from my friend Stephen. Thank you very much, Steve. With some warm water in it. And that can only mean one thing. We're diluting a solution of PP. So, what I've got to do is, now, talking about microscopes, I'm really glad I bought a microscope because the first time ever I have identified Costia. Not in my main pond. My main pond is absolutely squeaky clean. But where I have discovered it is in my Tozai pond. I've come back, spent a little bit of time looking at the Tozai, you know, just observing pretty much. And I've noticed one of them is not looking on top of things. It's got quite a lot of splits in the fins. It just doesn't look like it is thriving. It's possibly just surviving. So netted it, took a scrape, took it up to the new microscope, which is absolutely fantastic, by the way. People keep asking me what model it is. I don't know, it doesn't actually say, but if you go to Absolute Koi and go type into the microscope section, I think it's literally the only black LCD screen, digital screen that you can see there. And I did say it was 200 quid before, but it is actually £400. But literally, that's the price of an amazing Tozai. So it's definitely worth investing in because that microscope right now, right here, has probably saved the whole Tozai pond from getting consumed and overwhelmed by Costia. Now you just think of that. Now all of those fish in there's 45 Tozai in that place, in that pond. There's a few £1,000s worth of fish there, right? That I paid for when they were tiny. They're probably worth a lot more now, especially one or two of them are going to be going to a few shows with me because they're potential baby champions. You never know who's going to turn up, but that's the reason why I got that batch of Tozai. Is specifically as a numbers game to keep one or two back for myself, and then the rest is going to get offloaded to whoever wants to have an amazing fish that I don't want. So I'm going to measure the PP now, dissolve it, clean the easy pod. I'm not going to clean the easy pod because I've just done it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a PP treatment now, and then I'm going to do another PP treatment on Sunday, whilst after I've cleaned everything. I know that sounds weird, but this one is probably just going to strip the coat off and clean the fish in my mind, what's in there. And then I'll do a pond one, which then will get onto the fish again, it will hit him even harder. In my mind, that sounds good, even though I think I might clean the filter. I'll clean the filter. It's late, but it's worth it. So what I'm going to do now is measure the PP up and do that. Talking about the main pond, actually. The main pond is running absolutely fine. Let me show you. All of these aces are coming into bloom now, like absolutely fantastic. This red one is coming in now. The weekend I'm going to put a new post here so I think I'm going to make I don't know, I need to get a pot for that. But anyway, yeah, the fish are absolutely doing fine. Like, as you can see, the fins are all closing up great now. Mucus coat is very minimal on it, so I know the fish are happy. one or two of the fish flick or flap. You might see it in a minute, but I genuinely believe the only thing it can be is a little bit of a pH swing in the evenings. And that's it. There is nothing else there's nothing in there at all. All the fish are pristine. Like I said, the fins are closing up a little bit. There's my new yellow monkey. That is an absolute beast to eat in. I'll feed the fish in a minute. I'll get a little handful to put in, but yeah, it's running really great. I've been talking to Darren from Absolute Koi, and at the moment I've got Backy House media in 1, 2 full to the brim, and these two are half full. So I've got 2, 4, maybe 60 kilos in there. So Darren reckons I need another 60 kilos to fill up these and to fill up those. So I think I'm going to bite the bullet before the feeding season to get that filled up. If I'm paying for the flow friend to go over that shower, then I may as well get media to go in there. And I know I can get cheaper media. I know there's other media on the market, and I know it's probably going to be amazing, but I've heard other people talk about the different medias that after a while it gets soft and brittle and it breaks up. I'm just going to fork out. I'll save some pennies. I'll eat pot noodles for 2 weeks and get the BHM, the proper Backy House media, to go into those showers. Only because I love my fish, for no other reason. You can't see it. It ain't something to show off about. It just works the best. And I'm not saying the others don't work, because I'm sure they work absolutely fine. But I'm just going to get what my gut feeling goes with, and that's what I'm going to do. The mind your own business is actually looking really good. It's just sitting there. And eventually in my mind, these will turn into big bunches, which will break up the pond, and I think it'll look really cool. Because that one was tiny to start with, and now it's actually climbed up the wall and look really cool. So that's really good. Yeah, so that's it. And also what we're going to be doing on this pond is I've been talking to a couple of friends. I've been talking to Chip from Rastakoi. If you don't follow Rastakoi, I suggest you go over there and follow Rastakoi, because he's very knowledgeable. He's quite handsome as well, because he's from Trinidad. Suave. Been talking to my old mate Crafty and stuff, and I've also been on the phone to Andy Finch from Finch Filtrations. And I've been talking to Chip because, mate, I hope Ricky and Ryan is not watching this, right? And Kev. Kev, if you're watching it, don't tell Ryan I've said this. I like running soft water. They don't like soft water, they like hard water. But I like soft water. I don't know why. I do it that way. So I'm their little personal experiment. How their fish does in their hard water is one thing, and when they come down here in the soft water, they love it. So they're going to stay soft. So that end of things, my water goes from 7.2 to drum. That's how quick my reflexes was. Lucky I didn't have DeMarco in my hand. There'd be a couple of bullet holes in that right now. But the top's up because I was doing a water check just now and I forgot to put it down. It could have been worse. I could have been soaked in there. But anyway, so my water from the tap is about 7.2. At 7.2, I've got 1.8 kH in it, I guess. When it drops down to 6.9, I've got just under 1 kH. Now, the fish are thriving on that. They really are growing well. They're looking pristine. I can't change what is working in my pond. I'm just not willing to change what's happening there. When I'm feeding heavy and I get a tiny trace of ammonia at such a soft buffer of pH, the effects are very limited. So there's massive bonuses about keeping your water nice and soft. So that's what I'm going to do until circumstances change. I've said it. Hopefully it doesn't change, right? So what I want to do is, on my feeding regime at the moment, as I said, I've got the JBL auto feeders from Ryan exclusively, which is amazing, by the way. I'm feeding about 250 to 300 grams of food at the moment. Obviously that must have elevated since I've been using that, because I'm getting a tiny trace of ammonia, right? Which I'm not worried about, because that ammonia has come up. Eventually all the microbes on my K1 and my filter will produce more to be able to feast on that ammonia, and then the ammonia spike will slowly come down. And when it comes down and it goes yellow again, I'm gonna put the feed up a little bit more, just to pop it up a bit, and we'll come down again, and then we'll go up, and then we'll come down again. And hopefully by the real feeding season, to get some massive size on these fish, I'm going to be chucking hopefully up to 1 kilo in there. I think the pond is definitely capable of doing 1 kilo. I got 750 litres in the bio chamber, and I'm going to have 2, 4, 6, 120 litres of kilos of Backhouse media in the showers. Obviously the new media is going to have to mature a little bit, but without food for the microbes to get produced and to feast on, they ain't gonna get in there. So that's why I've got to raise the food very diligently to really creep up but not harm the fish. It's a very balancing act. It's like you've got to hit that nice zenith and keep it going steady until you hit your peak feeding in the height of the summer to get the volume on there. Yeah, so to that end of the things, when I'm feeding, my KH goes from 7.2 down to 6.9. I'm happy with that. That's not a massive swing, but that happens now in about 4 days. So I was talking to Andy Finch from Finch Filtration Systems. I know I've missed out a word in there, but you know the guy, handsome guy, white hair. He is going to make me something. Now, Chip runs a permanent pH reader, which is attached to a solenoid and a header tank. He showed me it yesterday. Really cool. That's in my mind exactly what I wanted. So I phoned up Andy and I told him, Andy, I want these bits to put myself together a pH system or a doser or something. And he goes, rightly, he goes, let's make it simple, stupid. There's less things to go wrong. What he's going to make me is basically it's a solenoid which is attached to a timer. Now, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to put it on the channel because I got a funny feeling a lot of you might really be interested. It's a solenoid which is attached to a timer. What you do is you mix up, and you've got a header tank. You mix up your pond water, right, with bicarb, and I've been told by Andy the best way to do that is to put your pond water in a bucket with an aeration stone, and then get like a sieve, you know, like those like little flower sieves. Put your bicarb in that and flower sieve it across onto the surface. Apparently that's the best way to bond the bicarb into the water, so it doesn't have to be stirred so much, right? From there, it's down to me, my discretion, to see how many like minutes or seconds that solenoid has to be open to dose the pond to keep the pH with the bicarb stable. So, you know, it could be 5 minutes. I'll start with maybe 5 minutes, and maybe I come back the next day and the pH has gone up to 7.4. So then obviously I'll take it down to 4 minutes and see over time where that is the most stable. And obviously with the increase of heat and the increase of feeding, that will change over the course of the year. But I know now I'm getting to know my pond and my water really well, and it's only a matter of time before I get to grips with that as well. Do you know what I mean? And once that is up and running, I think the fish could not be more stable. I don't think there's anything else I could do to this pond to stabilize the fish's life, if you know what I mean, which ultimately will make them feed more. Look, they are absolutely buzzing. So that's what we're going to do. That's going to be showed on the channel. And I got a funny feeling people are going to want that. So if it does work for me, I think maybe Andy might sort of like make the kit up, and you could buy the kit possibly to make it. I don't know. I don't even know how much it's going to cost, but I don't think it's going to break the bank, if you know what I mean. Yes, you could be old school and just chuck your bicarb in, but I really want to try to keep it a bit more stable, you know. That Ginnering, like that yellow monkey is class. Let me spin you around. Where is it? Obsessed. Absolutely obsessed with that thing. Got a lovely shape on it as well, like, you know. And mate, it feeds. It is ferocious. Right, I'm going to clean the filters now down here, and I'm going to put the PP in. So what we are going to do is put the light on in the garage here, so I can see out here. Then what we are going to do is turn off the pump, leave this raise up a little. So as you can see, it's raising. Let me put you back. I don't know if you're interested in this, guys. To some of you, this might be very interesting, because I realised that 2 years ago, I did try to find videos of people cleaning Easy Pods, and I couldn't find any. So there is hobbyists on every single level that watch my channel. So I do try to, even if it seems like this is unnecessary and everyone knows how to do it, and they actually don't, because I didn't at one stage. So put that in there. So that's what we're doing. We are going to clean this out. It needs a little bit more water in there. Let me just pull that out a bit. It will fit. There we are. Now start to tumble. So what you've got to do is you have to fill this up enough to get that media to tumble. If it ain't tumbling, it ain't cleaning, right? Because you're just putting bubbles all the way through it. So get that going, and you can see how gross it is coming on the outside. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to purge this bottom drain as well. This I can't do on camera because I've got to take off that Jubilee clip down there, purge it really quick till the water runs clean. That then is my pond fully cleaned, ready for a PP treatment. I'll have the air on, yeah, and we'll just go from there. But I'm quite keen to put the PP treatment in there, you know, as soon as I can. So I was talking to Darren actually from Absolute Koi, and he was saying, because I've scraped that one fish that didn't look very good, Kostya is an opportunist that will attack a fish, maybe only one fish in the pond, that has been weakened by an event or the environment. But it's quite funny how all the other fish are absolutely fine, and that one looked a bit ragged and tatty. Maybe it just was like an ill fish, you know, internal problems or something like that. Or maybe when the pond heater failed, when I came back from Japan, it took a bit of a hit from that and it didn't really recover. But anyway, what I am going to do is, because I know there is Kostya in there, I've never had Kostya before, and it's very hard to spot, to be honest. Even on my microscope, I found it quite difficult to pinpoint what it was. I could see it moving, but on my monocular one, on my other microscope, there's no way in the world I would have identified that. There's no way in this world I would have spotted Kostya on that other microscope. So a microscope isn't just a microscope, guys. Really isn't, you know. And I can't stress enough, realistically, like, you know, to buy a cheap microscope is 100 quid, I guess, because my first one was about 120 quid, and I thought that would be okay, but it quite clearly isn't okay. So I wouldn't waste money on a cheap one for your first one, because effectively I've wasted 150 quid on an insufficient piece of equipment for what I wanted it for. And then 2 years down the line, I've actually had to fork out for a really good one. So I think, yeah, it was. Now, don't get me wrong, that microscope might come handy as a backup. I'll keep it because if my digital one fails, I've always got something. Do you know what I mean? You know, if my M4 carbine breaks, I've always got a pistol as a backup. It's the same kind of thing. That pistol ain't gonna hit a barn door at 200 meters, but it's gonna scare something. Now that's the same kind of thing. I'm gonna see certain things like flukes and stuff like that with that other one, but there's no way I would have found that costume. No way. But anyway, we're gonna do this, do that, purge the drains. I'll be back now. Right, so here we are then, guys. That is the Easy Pod cleaned. We're just filling it back up again now, and also the bottom drain is purged. We've got the air flat out, and my water parameters, okay, are, so the pH is at 7.1. okay, so I know I've got about 1.6 to 1.5 kH in there without even checking. I know that. And temperatures are 24, and TDS is 470. The only reason it's 470 is because I've got a little bit of salt left in there, but that's neither here nor there. So that there is all ready to go now. What I've got in here in my bucket is my PP treatment. So that is my own pretty much dose, which I normally do. Again, just stick to the packets, guys. That's all you've got to know. Stick to the packets. As long as all your pond is clean and you haven't got a lot of like, you know, sort of like, you know, like crap in there and all that kind of stuff, this will really do its job. The more bio waste and all you've got in this, the more it's using, more it's taking the effectiveness away from the actual treatment of the fish, I've been told. So make sure everything is really clean. Make sure you've got loads of air, especially at 24 degrees, because the hotter it is, the less oxygen is held within the water. Okay, so that's another massive thing. Again, like lots of people say, if your pond is ambient in the summer and it's hot anyway, always do your PP treatments in the morning, because that's when your pond's going to be the coolest and you can neutralize it before the heat is going to affect, you know, it to like the maximum amount, basically. So what I'm going to do now is, I need 2 hands to do this. We're going to slowly put the treatment in, and then I'm going to put a timer on for about 3 hours. I'm only going to give them 3 hours, and then neutralize it with my hydrogen peroxide, and then that should do the trick. Do you get it? Oh, I've got a good little saying. Hang on now, let me see if I can get this right. There's no trick to keeping koi. It's all a fluke, but it's going to cost you. Oh, my word. I think I might put that as the title for this video. Oh, God. Well, there we are then, guys. I always administer it through the Easy Pod. So straight down the middle, goes straight through the backing media straight away. This is where it's the most potent. So it goes through here. The impeller will even mix it up more, and it goes straight through the backy shower where it's the most potent, and that's where I want it really to get into all the pumice stone I've got in there. And now that's straight into the fish. So like I said, the oxygen is on. They're going to have 3 hours, and then I'm going to neutralize what I've put in there, which some people don't. You can see that is vibrant purple in there, and that means the medication is doing its work. It is hitting the pond and the fish where it needs to hit them. Okay, as soon as that starts going like to a rust color brown, you know, the effectiveness, the actual medication inside that PP is being spent, you know. And the cleaner your pond is when you put that in, the longer that's going to stay purple, and the longer that is going to be medicating the fish. Again, if you have any questions on PPing, I suggest you don't ask me. all of my experience with PP is on my own personal ponds and from experts in the industry, and also very experienced hobbyists in the industry. So yeah, my knowledge is very limited on this. All I know is this works for me. So it might not work for you with your pond parameters, your pond setup. It's very risky to do as I do. So do as I say and ask an expert. And there is very knowledgeable people out there with this kind of stuff. The timer's on down there. What we're going to do now is see if we can coax these little fellas into giving us a show. There they go. So I've got a combination between sinking and floating. Look at that karashi. It is going to get massive and it's going to bankrupt me. Wowzers, it just loves it. Wait for it. Oh, hasn't seen that. But yeah, I could watch this all night, guys. And when the weather breaks, I shall be watching this all night. But the pond, guys, quick, the pond's running fine. You can see all the air. Oh look, there we are. You can see the air curtain quite plain there in the background. So the air curtain is working. Thanks a lot, mate. The air curtain is working fantastic. The bottom drains are both working fantastic. There is no waste on the bottom at all. When I built the pond, because obviously all my returns are up one side and it all pushes one way, I was really, really worried. I was really, really nervous that I was going to get a load of buildup of waste down that bottom end. But yeah, nothing. Literally, if I get a buildup of anything, underneath where, so I've got one pipe that comes from the drum and it bypasses, it just dumps out there. I get a little bit of, like, it's weird. I don't know whether it's like, it looks like it's like sand or something. So I don't know, something heavy, probably from the building process, which is still recycling around the system slowly, like sand, which finds its way into here, gets sucked up, goes back into the drum, sort of gets through the drum somehow and then gets pushed back. I don't know, but there's a little bit, but there's none there now. You can't see it, like, but these fish are fantastic. I reckon that yellow monkey will be feeding from my hand very soon. I will train it. But yeah, they're all looking pretty good. Mate, that keith and my kawaku there is growing so big. Like, I had plans to put that in for baby champion this year, but there's no way. I'm not even going to measure it because it's like, it's just, the growth rate on that thing is like something to admire, to be honest. Like, it's not even the smallest fish in there now. It's outgrown a load of its peers. That Danichi Showa down there, right, is coming up to knee side. Okay? Where is it? It's bigger than it, and that's only Tozai. That is going to be an absolute monster, and I can't wait to see that pattern progress. I don't know if you can pick it up from here, but where the Benny is, the Benny plates are really nice and consistent all the way through, even though it's quite a technical pattern. I'm looking at it there now. The Kiwa and Sashi from here looks really nice, and the Benny on the head is a little bit more vibrant than the Benny plates where the scales are. However, I can see all of the colour grouped up into the centre of those scales, and that, I think that's they're gonna, yeah, there's a lot of pigment concentrated now, and I think that's going to be a really interesting fish by the end of this year. I'm hoping so. So that's my little bit of Keith Holmes in my pond, bless him. It's going to make it very difficult to get rid of that fish, I guess, now. Yeah. My fish are looking really good, really happy, you know. Fins are knitting up quite nice together, you know. Yeah, I'm really blessed with how it's running at the moment. Let's get some more media in there, finish this PP, hopefully get rid of this condensation, and maybe do a bit more on the garden this weekend. There we are then, guys. Look, we're on 6.9 now, and earlier on that was on 7, so you can see that the pH does swing towards the evening. I'm not going to put any bicarb in now, because I know tomorrow morning when I wake up that's going to be 7 again, but tomorrow evening at this time that'll be 6.8. It's mad how you get to know your pond so well, but that's the fact of the hobby, I guess, you know, and that's what counts. That's what makes husbandry to these koi a lot easier, when you use your common sense and you try to work out what's going on. And that exactly is why I would recommend a Blue Lab Guardian, because I can, every time I come into my pond, I look at those readings, and that makes me know what's happening in that pond. And those readings, along with the behaviour of those koi, can tell you everything. You don't even really need to do any kind of like water tests. You kind of know. Fish are happy, pH is there, KH is there, heat is there. TDS, don't look at that, that's because it's got salt in it running through the system, which will find its way out with a trickle in. You know, fantastic bit of kit. Best £300 anyone can spend on a pond, along with a good microscope, I can promise you that. And once you get one, you will never go back. Yeah, really good bit of kit. Anyway guys, I've probably done enough tonight to put a little video out. Have I got anything to talk about? Ryan from Exclusively Koi is coming down next Saturday to spend the evening with me. An evening with Lee and Ryan. Maybe we'll get in on camera and do a koi nerding session on Sunday morning before he leaves. Oh, Saturday night actually. I'll get the lights on here because he's bringing down all my koi. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I am so excited. I've got about 8 koi coming from him, I think, at least. Another thing that I've got to talk to you about is Tim Waddington has got a fish I need to pick up. He's got a Cintro, I believe it's female, Tancho. Very nice. I think it's probably just about out of quarantine now, but I think we were on about maybe if I go up there doing like a little day event or something like that. I think that's what he's mentioned to me, and he mentioned to one of my friends, hobbyists, today as well. So I'll get in touch with Tim and comment below, see if you would like to do like, I don't know, like a little tea party up in Tim's. Have a look around his establishment and you know, come out and hang out for a few hours, because it's a long way for me to go up there just to pick up a fish. I'd like to meet some friends and some cool people to talk about fish as well. So let me know if you'd be interested in like a little day event up in Tim's, and I'll see if I can get Tim to do any sort of like discounts on fish and stuff. I'd love to get you guys bargains.